I'm almost 40, and I think there comes a point when you look in the mirror and realize my skin is changing. And I don't actually think that has to be a bad thing. I don't want to be afraid of getting older. I don't want to spend the next 20 or 30 years desperately trying to erase every line from my face or wishing I could somehow get my 20-year-old face back. But I also don't believe embracing aging means that we stop taking care of ourselves. There has to be somewhere in the middle, a place where we can say, I am grateful for this face. I'm grateful for this body. I'm grateful that I get to grow older. And because I'm grateful for it, I'm going to take care of it. So today we're doing something a little different. I'm going to take you through essentially an entire JAFRA Royal Defy skincare routine. I've got the cleanser, I've got the active firming serum, the Lift Express eye treatment, the 4D defining hydrator, and the antioxidant face oil. And rather than just holding up the bottles and telling you what the company says they do, I want to actually talk you through them. And while I do, we're going to learn what actually happens to our skin as we get older. Why does it become drier? Why do lines start showing up? And why does our face begin looking different? And also, what can skincare realistically help with? And what can't it do? Because I don't want this series to be about chasing impossible promises. I wanted it to be about understanding our skin and caring for ourselves well. So let's take care of our skin. Part one, why my skincare has changed. I mean, if you've watched the other videos in this JAFRA series, you already know that JAFRA isn't something I discovered because I started making YouTube videos. It's something I've been around basically my entire life. My mom, Patricia Bergstrom, has been a JAFRA consultant for around 50 years. And my sister Angela, we call her Angel, is about 10 years older than I am. And she has used JAFRA faithfully for her whole life too. And honestly, I've been using it and surrounded by JAFRA, as you would expect, since I was a kid. So when I talk about these products, there's a lot of nostalgia wrapped up in them for me. I remember the jars and the smells and my mom's bathroom and watching her take care of her skin every evening. And now I'm standing here and I'm approaching 40 doing many of the same like little rituals, and I understand them differently than I did when I was younger. Because at 20, I mean, skin skincare really felt kind of optional. I was dealing with more like acne prone skin at the time. I mean, you need to wash your face to beat the pimples, but moisturizer, no, that might be optional or even just forget it. And your skin, it would generally forgive you and clear up. And somewhere along the way, I started to notice something, that makeup wasn't sitting the same for me. Have you noticed that? Or the skin under your eyes, it looks a little thinner, or your forehead holds on to an expression a little bit longer than it used to, or just like your skin, it feels dry even though it never used to. Or maybe you notice changes around your mouth or your jawline, like holding wrinkles here or here. And sometimes, the immediate reaction is, "Oh no, I'm getting older." Like, ugh, what can you do? But that's not how I want to look at it. My skin isn't betraying me. Yours isn't betraying you. It's just changing. And once I understand what's changing, I could make better decisions. And so can you. So let's learn more about how to actually care for it. In part two, I want to discuss what actually happens to our skin as we age. I am a certified nutritionist and health coach. And, to me, the body works as an entire complete whole orchestra, and the skin, it is one of the organs that holds all of it together. So I want you to recognize that our skin is an organ. and it's constantly responding to our internal health, our hormones, the environment, the sun exposure, hydration, nutrition, sleep, stress, genetics, and then just simply the passage of time. As we age, several things, they just gradually change. Our skin tends to become thinner, collagen production changes, and elastin changes. And these things affect the look and feel of the skin, and the skin may hold on to moisture differently as well. Cell turnover slows, which means kind of how the skin kind of sloughs off and rebuilds and replaces itself. That process takes longer. And the underlying structures that help just give the face that fuller, youthful appearance begin to change too. And accumulated sun exposure does become increasingly visible. That's why aging, it isn't just about wrinkles. It's texture, hydration, firmness, elasticity, pigmentation, volume, and the way light reflects off our skin. And I think understanding that is freeing because we're not trying to solve one mysterious thing called aging. We're supporting skin that has different needs now than it did 15 or 20 years ago. And that's exactly what I want to think about as we go through these products. So, step one is cleansing. We're starting where every skincare routine should start, and that's with clean skin. Now, if you want to order any of these products or the whole set or just learn more about them, look in the description below. I will have a link to my mom's site where you can order these products directly from her. All right, so like I said, we're starting where every good routine starts with clean skin. And cleansing, it sounds incredibly basic, but especially as our skin gets older, I don't think we should underestimate this step. We're trying to remove makeup, sunscreen, oils, dirt, and everything our skin has accumulated throughout the day. I even sometimes will use a makeup remover or a makeup remover wipe and then use this. But there's an important difference between clean skin and stripped skin. Like, have you ever washed your face and afterward it feels almost squeaky, like tight? You immediately need moisturizer because your face feels uncomfortable. That feeling, it isn't necessarily proof that your cleanser did an amazing job. Sometimes it's a sign that we've removed more of our skin's natural oils than we needed to. And as skin becomes naturally more prone to dryness with age, preserving that moisture barrier becomes increasingly important. And when I use this, I just put it on gently and then wipe it off or rinse it with some warm water and then kind of pat it down and dry it gently. And like I said, this doesn't really do a great job at removing makeup, but I think that that's intentional. Like I said, it's trying not to remove an excessive amount of natural oils, and not everybody wears makeup. So they don't want to put a makeup remover in what's just intended to help cleanse the skin. I hope that makes sense. If not, you can ask for more clarity in the description below. You might find more information as well or on the website. So you've got options, but just let me know if that was confusing. All right. So now that we've washed, we've kind of created the canvas for everything else we're going to use. Step two, I would go ahead and use the active firming serum. You can kind of choose how you prefer it, but for now we're going to use this one. This is the Defy Active Firming Serum. It's just a light moisturizer, but it is really good as an initial moisturizer because it absorbs really pretty quickly. It doesn't really leave much residue or texture. This is where we're getting into the more concentrated treatment portion of the routine. Serums are generally formulated to deliver targeted ingredients in a lighter layer before heavier moisturizers and oils. And this particular product is positioned toward concerns that become increasingly relevant as skin matures. So things like the appearance of fine lines, firmness, dryness, and uneven looking tone. You'll want to go ahead and put this on after you wash. And again, do it gently. And if you can, go all the way down your jawline and into your neck because I've been guilty of this myself. We tend to care for our face and stop right here. But really, as we age, this skin is super important that you give it attention to. Kind of the basic area of the upper chest and neck. It gets a lot of sun exposure and damage. So if I'm intentionally caring for my face, I don't want to completely ignore everything under it. Um, Also, I want to talk about firmness for a minute because firming is one of those skincare words that can sound almost magical. A serum cannot freeze time. It isn't going to rebuild your 20-year-old face overnight, and I don't think we need to pretend that it will. What good skincare can do is support hydration, improve the appearance and feel of the skin, support the skin barrier, and help the surface look smoother, healthier, and just more resilient. And when skin is properly hydrated, it can naturally appear fuller and fine lines can look less pronounced. That distinction is important. It really matters to me because I'm interested in taking care of my skin. I'm not interested in just being sold an impossible promise, but this will help, or it definitely has me and my mom and my sister. I promise you, this stuff is a good next step. All right, so step 3, the Lift Express eye treatment right here. And we've talked about this product before, but I wanted to show you. This is where it actually belongs in the routine. The skin around our eyes, it's different from much of the rest of our face. It's delicate and it's constantly moving. Think about how many times you blink, smile, squint, laugh, cry. Every one of those expressions becomes part of the story written around our eyes. So I'm just use a small amount and gently apply it around the area. No aggressive pulling or rubbing. There's something I really want to say here. I don't want women watching these videos to become afraid of their smile lines. I don't want us staring into magnifying mirrors, searching for evidence that we're getting older. Some of those lines exist because you lived, my friend. You've smiled, you've laughed, you've raised babies, you stayed awake worrying about people you love. I'm sure you've cried and you've survived things. Your face has participated in your life. So take care of it, but don't hate it. Those are two different things, completely different. All right, so step 4, your 4D defining hydrator. That is going to be this one right here. JAFRA describes the Defy approach around 4 visible goals: firming, lifting, smoothing, and restoring the appearance of volume. And hydration plays a huge role in how mature skin looks and feels. When our outer layer, the outer skin is dehydrated, fine lines can appear more obvious. Your texture is going to look rougher and the skin can look more dull. Makeup may even settle differently. So proper hydration is, it doesn't stop biological aging. Of course not. But it can make such a huge difference, so significant in how healthy and comfortable our skin looks and feels. So when I put this on, I put it on my face, I dollop it here and here, and then I rub it in gently around the eyes, all the little corners, and down into my neck, like we talked about before. This whole routine, it takes a few minutes. Like, that's it. Sometimes we talk about self-care like it requires a spa weekend. Oh, that'd be nice, right? We could get one, but it doesn't. Sometimes self-care is 5 or 10 minutes just standing at your bathroom counter and saying, I'm worth taking care of today in this moment. I am worth it. Not because anybody else is going to see me, not because I have to look younger. Probably no one's even going to notice. Not because your value depends on whether you have wrinkles or not, but because this body, this face has carried us through another day. I want to talk about the royal jelly connection. One reason this particular connection interests me is the royal jelly connection. Royal jelly, it has been such an important part of Jaffra's identity for decades, really. And if you've watched this series, you've heard me talk about my family's history with it. And the modern RJX product, um, they aren't simply the old royal jelly products in prettier packaging. The formulations have evolved. There are modern cosmetic ingredients incorporated alongside that royal jelly heritage. And I think that's interesting because it's almost representative of what this whole series has become for me. I'm taking something that belonged to my childhood, something my mom loved and still does, and rediscovering it as an adult woman just around the corner from 40. Not because I want to become my younger self again, but because I'm becoming someone new. All right, step 5 is the antioxidant face oil. We're finishing with the Defy antioxidant face oil because it gives us an opportunity to talk about something incredibly important. Like I said, I'm a health coach, so we want to focus on health. But with this, we're talking about oxidative stress. Our skin is constantly interacting with the environment. UV radiation, pollution, and normal metabolic processes can contribute to the formation of reactive molecules commonly called free radicals. Antioxidants help to counter oxidative processes. That's why antioxidants appear so frequently in skincare formulations and why antioxidants from our diet matter too. Skincare is one piece of skin health. It isn't the whole picture. Nutrition matters, hydration, sleep, stress management, sun protection. These things all matter enormously. And this is especially important. Face oil does not replace sunscreen. So if you're doing this routine during the day, sunscreen belongs at the end of your daytime skincare routine. This may not sound glamorous, but protecting your skin from UV exposure is one of the most meaningful things you can do to reduce premature visible skin aging. When you put on the oil, you don't need to drown your face, just a few drops and then rub it in gently. That's the whole routine, right? I'm almost 40. I want to come back to where we started. Like I just said, I am almost 40. And I actually feel like emotional saying that sometimes because not because I think 40 is old, but because when you're young, 40 feels so far away and then suddenly you're here. And when I look at my face now, I can see a different woman than the girl I used to be. I've lived, I've become a mother, I'm a wife, I'm married, I've struggled and I've changed and I've experienced sickness and healing and heartbreak and joy and faith and I've experienced moments I didn't know if I was strong enough to survive. And this face right here, this one was there for all of it. And so why would I look at it now and hate it because there are lines beginning to appear? I don't want that relationship with aging. I want to age with grace. But grace doesn't mean neglect. And this is something I've been thinking about throughout this entire Jaffra series. Going back to Esther from the Bible, she's one of my favorite women in the Bible. Esther, or her Hebrew name was Hadassah. If you've watched the series, you know her story means something very personal to me. Before Esther went before the king, scripture describes a long period of preparation and beauty treatments. And I don't read that story and think God cared about whether Esther had perfect skin. That's not the point. Esther's beauty wasn't the source of her courage. Her cosmetics didn't save her people. Her character, courage, wisdom, faith, and willingness to act mattered far more. But preparation was still part of her story. And that distinction has become So meaningful to me. Taking care of yourself does not have to mean worshiping yourself. Beauty doesn't automatically equal vanity. There's a difference between saying, my appearance determines my worth, and saying, I've been given this body and I'm going to care for it. I believe our bodies are gifts from God, and I believe stewardship can include how we nourish them, how we rest them, how we move them, and yes, even how we care for our skin. Beauty is not the enemy. I think women sometimes receive two completely opposite messages. The world tells us stay young, fix everything, hide your age, erase the wrinkles, change your body by this so you'll finally be beautiful enough. And then sometimes the response to that becomes appearance shouldn't matter at all. Don't care about beauty. Don't be so vain. Don't spend time on yourself. Anything cosmetic is just superficial. And I don't think either extreme is particularly healthy. I think we can occupy the middle. My beauty is not my worth, but I am allowed to enjoy being beautiful. I am allowed to put on makeup. I am allowed to take care of my hair. I am allowed to care for my skin. I am allowed to enjoy the woman looking back at me in the mirror, and I'm allowed to do all of that while knowing that the most important parts of me cannot be found in that mirror. You know what I learned from my mom, honestly? I think this is one of the things my mom quietly taught me without ever sitting me down and teaching me. I've watched her use JAFRA for essentially my entire life. She's now been connected with this company for around 5 decades. And when I was younger, I didn't really think about what that meant. It was just mom skincare. Now I'm approaching 40 and suddenly I'm looking at her differently. Consistency matters. Not because one moisturizer somehow prevents aging, it doesn't, but because small changes, small things done consistently become part of how we care for ourselves. And now Angel, my sister, has done it for years. My mom has done it for decades. And I'm carrying that little ritual forward too. 3 women, 3 different stages of life. My sister's an empty nester already. One little family tradition sitting on the bathroom counter. That's it's special to me. You know, my final thoughts on the Defy routine. After putting everything together, here's what I really like about it. It makes sense. Cleanse, target, care for the eyes, hydrate, finish with nourishing oil. And during the daytime, protect with sunscreen if you're going to be outside a lot. You absolutely do not need 5 expensive products to be worthy of taking care of yourself. Please hear me say that. You don't have to buy this entire collection. You don't have to use JAFRA. You don't need a complicated skincare routine. But I do think everyone deserves to understand their skin well enough to care for it. Start with the basics, cleanse gently, moisturize, protect your skin, take care of yourself internally. And then if you enjoy skincare and want targeted products, that's where products like these can become part of the routine. If you're interested, check the description below. Here's my challenge for you. Tonight, before you go to bed, take 5 minutes, wash your face, put something nourishing on your skin. And while you're standing in front of the mirror, don't inspect yourself looking for everything you wish you could change. Look at yourself differently. Think about what the woman inside of you has survived. Think about who she's loved. Think about what she's learned. Think about everything her body has carried her through, and then take care of her. Not because she's perfect, not because she's young, not because she looks like somebody on Instagram or whatever, because she's yours. And if you're enjoying this JAFRA series, subscribe because we're going to keep exploring skincare, aging, beauty, health, and self-care from a perspective that I don't think it's talked about enough. We're going to talk about the science. We're going to try the products. We're going to talk about what works and what doesn't. But we're also going to keep talking about what beauty actually means as we get older. If you're interested in trying JAFRA yourself, my mom, Patricia, is a JAFRA consultant, and I'll put her ordering link below in the description. If you're interested in the health side of what I do, you can visit me at youareworthithealth.com. I've also written books about multiple sclerosis and thyroid health, and I'll put those links below as well. But wherever you go from here, please remember this. Getting older isn't evidence that you're losing your beauty. You're watching it change. Care for your skin, care for your health, care for the person underneath it all. And don't spend so much time wishing for the face you used to have that you miss the woman that you've become. I'll see you in the next episode, my friend.